In this video, I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to brushes, just to get enough to get you started. And if you don't have the basics of Meshmixer down yet, then I recommend this series of videos from Autodesk. So we have the Stanford Bunny here, and as you can see, it is a pretty low resolution mesh. Not a lot of detail. So I'm going to zoom in here on the eye. And let's give the Stanford Bunny a little more definition of the eye. Here's the Sculpt tools. There are a number of different brushes, fairly self-explanatory. I'm going to use the inflate brush to start with. And I'm going to reset to defaults just so that we're all working with the same thing here. Notice there are a couple properties here. There's fall off. This should be the default there with the gentle fall off. So this is going to have, this brush will have the most effect in the center, and then we'll have gradually less effect as it gets out towards the edge of the size of the brush. Color doesn't really matter for us in this case. Strength, we're going to leave at 50, and all of these others. Symmetry is something you can use when you're working on two sides of a object that's along the axis, but this isn't the case here. So we are just going to draw a little bit with the mouse in order to bring up the eye. Okay, so next I'd like a little more definition around the eye, so I chose the pinch. All right, there. And then finally, I'm going to use a shrink smooth and make the strength very light. Let's zoom in closer here to the eye. And just smooth that out a bit. Okay. All right. And that's about all there is to it. The one thing I would say, I'm going to press W here to show you the wireframe. This shows you all of the vertices, which are the points where these lines meet, where the edges meet, and the faces, which are the triangles. You can see that there's a bunch more here in the area where we've been working. Now you can get to a point where you have so many of these faces that the program really slows down and it will be difficult to do 3D printing. So there's one other brush I'd like to cover here, and that's the reduce brush here. So with the reduce brush, we paint over an area that we've been working in, and you'll see that it does take away some of the detail, but I have it set here at a strength of 33, and that's consistent with a certain level of detail here. If I were to decrease that, or I'm sorry, increase, you can see the triangles get much larger. I don't want to do that. So let's restore the defaults there. So it's set to 50 by default. And now I'm going to press W again to get rid of that, zoom back out, and there we have a more detailed eye. Follow along, basically use those same techniques, experiment with the other brushes. The secondary brush you get with the control key on a Windows. On the Mac, it's the command key. So when you press down the command key while you're using one of these brushes, so let's say I have draw brought up here, and my secondary brush is set to bubble smooth. That would be as, pressing down the command key while using the draw tool would be as if I had selected the bubble smooth tool to begin with. So that's the basic introduction to using brushes and sculpting in Meshmixer. And and that should be good for you to get started. So have a good time.